Yeah.
Hey everyone, back at you again with another movie review. This time I'm very excited to talk about the latest from Neill Blomkamp, Gran Turismo, starring David Harbour, Orlando Bloom, Archie Madekwe, Darren Barnett, Jerry Halliwell Horner, and Djimon Hounsou. And of course, this is not quite a video game adaptation, but it is about the racing simulator Gran Turismo on PlayStation, and is the story of Jann Mardenborough, who is an expert at the video game Gran Turismo. And he's essentially given a once-in-a-lifetime chance to become a race car driver when the opportunity presents itself to have a racing academy and prove that gamers can indeed be athletes. Now, this is a pretty incredible story within itself, and really glad to see it get made. And obviously, look, I mean, I'll be honest, I have not seen a single Neill Blomkamp film, not even District 9, and I feel like that's the one that I'm going to have to check out next, obviously, because that's the big one, right? But I really wasn't sure what to expect going into this, because I know his track record's been pretty hit or miss. And, you know, it's kind of a joke that every time we'd go to the movie theater, they'd be playing this trailer, so it's like we kind of have to go see it, right? And I've got to say, guys, this was such a delightful film. I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. And look, let's be honest, it's pure sports Formula 101. It hits all the beats you'd expect and more. But within that formula, I think there's a reason why these movies are done in the way they're done. Because they have found success, and this is the first time that we've seen a sports story work like this. But it's certainly one of the better ones, because I think the characters that populate this narrative are what really make you emotionally attached to the story. Like Jann Mardenborough, played by Archie Madekwe, who I think is really, really phenomenal in this. I knew I noticed him from somewhere, and I guess he's that guy from Midsummer who was in the movie for a short period of time. I was like, oh, that's where I know him from. No, but he really brings a lot of heart to this movie, a lot of great emotional scenes with him as well. He really brings his A game to, you know, this real life racing professional, and really anchors you into this very triumphant and humanistic story. But speaking of anchoring into the story, I mean, you got to give so much credit to David Harbour here, who really is the heart and soul of this whole movie. He plays the role that you would expect, the curmudgeonly mentor who eventually gains, you know, gets this affection for, you know, his student, you know, that sort of thing. You really have seen this arc before, but the way it's presented in this film, once again, it's all about execution. The proof is in the pudding, and I think the way they write David Harbour's character and the way he really elevates this material to another level, you believe him every fiber of his being as this character. It really is quite a great supporting turn, one of the more standout ones from the year, I might add. And same thing, Djimon Hounsou is in the movie a little bit as his dad, and of course there's that conflict that plays into effect for dramatic purposes now, because I'm sure the story of Jann Mardenborough isn't quite how it plays out in this film. But I think, yet again, another actor on their absolute A-game here, and some scenes between all three of these characters at separate points, obviously, not with each other all at the same time, but I think really provide some of the most emotional and heart-tugging moments in this entire movie. Like, I really was tearing up at quite a few points in this film, and for a Gran Turismo movie, I mean, that's pretty surprising. I also have to mention Maeve Courtier-Lilley is Audrey in this, who plays Jann's love interest in this. I really think that she is quite good, and the chemistry between the two is just absolutely fantastic. But I think this is where you get in some problems with the movie, because I feel like her character isn't really fleshed out. And I think a lot of the characters in this movie could have been a little bit more fleshed out, even though a lot of the characters, there's so many moments that just surprised me that they eventually, you know, flipped the typical conventions that you'd expect in a very interesting way. But those moments are a bit few and far between, because I think this movie is very by the books, in a good way, but still, you know, that is my biggest problem with this, because there's this one race car driver played by Joshua Stradowski that's essentially a very two-dimensional cardboard cutout villain, you know, and really I just think characters like that kind of reveal the flaws in this script, as formulaic as it already is. I just think there's moments that really could have been elaborated on, tightened up, even the racing sequence. I don't know why everyone's saying all the racing sequences are amazing. Like, yes, they're good, but it feels very, you know, chopped up, and I feel like towards the beginning of the film, it's like, okay, montage, we just have to kind of speed through all of this to get to the good stuff. And obviously, not only is it formulaic, but it is a little choppy. It does take a little bit to get into this movie, and I just think the racing sequences, as much as this film does hinge on racing and you know, the whole element of this GT Academy, you know, turning, you know, non-professional gamers into, you know, real-life athletes, I think they could have dived a bit more into the actual racing itself. And there are some very intense moments, and it is very, very gratifying. By the end of the movie, you're really, really swept up in it. But I feel like it could have just been that much better, you know, like or else I would have said that I had absolutely loved this movie. But there's just a few things like that that really hold it back from being as good as I think it could have been given the formula that is following. But even with that being said, it's just a remarkable sports formula drama. I don't really have too much else to say except please go see this. I mean, really, I'm pleasantly surprised at how much I like this, but maybe not so, because I know a lot of people really, really enjoyed this film at all. You know, get prepared to be emotional, get prepared to be swept up in all this stuff, and a bunch of product placement for Sony, because I'll be honest, another thing is they shamelessly plug themselves throughout this entire film, which is fine, obviously. You know, I think it makes sense considering they're the company that's going to do it. They're not going to put in different technology from other companies. They're not going to pay Apple for anything, you know what I mean? So it didn't bother me, but I know a lot of people brought that up, and it is quite obvious, and they make sure that you know that this is a commercial for the video games. But I really think it's a very, very loving one at that, you know, especially there's some really cool sequences where you see him on the racetrack, and then you kind of like see like what it would be like in the simulator, you know, and showing how it looks digitally. I think stuff like that really kind of set this a bit apart from other, you know, regular sports dramas and racing films, because of the property that's involved, because Sony threw all this money into this commercial, but still these guys were able to make a really, really compelling sports film at that, more so than it is a video game adaptation. And I just think the story of Jann Mardenborough is really, really inspiring, and something that everybody should see. So yeah, guys, I'm going to give Gran Turismo a 8 out of 10. Really, this is one of the best movies I think I've seen so far this year. And I really think that you guys should just check it out, just because of that. And let me know what you think, because I know not everyone is huge into this movie, but I really think it is quite phenomenal for what it is. So yeah, guys, have you seen Gran Turismo? As I said, let me know in the comments below, and smash the like button. Going to be bringing some very special reviews to you guys very soon, as well as some very, very special videos coming down the line in the near future. So of course, guys, until the next video, I will see you later.